URSHIFU is a Pokemon that dominated in its debut gen, and this gen is no different. In draft specifically, this thing is a menace. No doubt a top tier threat in the format, but why? What makes URSHIFU so good? Well boys, today I will be letting you in on the secret of why you should draft URSHIFU. Want to hear another secret first? Only 45% of the people that watch my videos are subscribed, and I know you're a part of the 55%. It's okay, I know you are, we've all been there. Go ahead, do me a favor, scroll down there and hit that subscribe button to join that 45% and help me hit my goal of 3,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Seriously, it's fine, I won't look, just don't let it happen again. URSHIFU has a lot of things going for it, and one of the best things going for it is Pangoro's typing. But I'm serious, Pangoro might suck, but URSHIFU does this typing a lot of justice. Dark plus fighting is an insane stab combination. Scrafty and Pangoro do not do it justice. These guys over here, they're not good. URSHIFU, the other bear that we're talking, is Scrafty a bear? Surely Scrafty's not a bear. I don't know. Kurt, put some bear ears on Scrafty. These bears, not good. This bear, this URSHIFU, very good. Dark plus fighting is a fantastic stab combination that is only switchable into, I'm gonna double down. It's only switchable into by fairy types. Thankfully though, URSHIFU has both momentum and coverage to deal with those fairies that we'll talk about a little bit later. As for stats, URSHIFU has 100 HP, 130 attack, 100 defense, 63 special attack, yes that was a question, 60 special defense, and 97 speed. This makes URSHIFU have a respectable speed tier, and it's able to take advantage of Scarf really well, but its speed is also going to be one of the things that keep it in check, because most teams should have one to two things that should outspeed and pressure KO on this Pokemon. Base 130 is also a fantastic attack stat, and it matches some very respectable attackers like Mamoswine, Scizor, and of course, Flareon. Its attack stat is enough to where if you put a band on it, it's probably going to become overwhelming, or should I say, overbearing. The base 100 HP and defense actually make URSHIFU a very viable physical wall. I say wall very loosely, a physical switch in. It can switch into physical attackers, not necessarily wall them, but it does have some good moves that it can take advantage of with this physical bulk that we'll talk about a little bit later. Fortunately for URSHIFU, or unfortunately if you are any sane person that plays Pokemon, Game Freak decided that URSHIFU has to be broken across every single format, and it got some moves to really take advantage of literally every format. You go to any format and this Pokemon is like top usage, man. Thankfully, unlike ugly Pangoro, URSHIFU gets some moves that it can take advantage of. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think Pangoro gets basically the same moves I'm about to tell you that URSHIFU gets, but Pangoro is slow and fat and ugly. Sorry Pangoro, man, it's not that serious. Not only does it have U-turn to punish the slow fairies that want to switch in, gain momentum on them, and go into whatever you possibly want to go into, but it also has both Iron Head and Poison Jab, allowing you to pick off KOs on a lot of fairy types once you get them in range. I've also yet to talk about its signature move, Wicked Blow. It might not get knockoff, but it sure makes up for it with Wicked Blow. It is a base 80 move that always crits, and what that means is URSHIFU has two base 120, essentially base 120 stabs with Wicked Blow and close combat. You pair that with U-turn and you pair that with coverage for fairies, it is impossible to switch into URSHIFU pretty much. URSHIFU also has some nifty tools like Trailblaze, Swords Dance, Sucker Punch, and Bulk Up, which allow for some creative sets that are not Choice Banded or Choice Scarf. The first and easily most common set on URSHIFU is going to be Choice Scarf. With U-turn, Dual Stab, Sucker Punch, or some form of coverage move, whether it be something like Poison Jab or Iron Head for the fairies, or like, I don't know, throw on Thunder Punch for a Mantine. Why would you? Don't do that. This set is just generally a very good set into most teams because, like I said earlier, most teams are going to have something to outspeed and pressure KOs on URSHIFU unless you throw a Choice Scarf on it, and then this Pokemon becomes infinitely harder to kill. It can just U-turn on the fairies or whatever other Pokemon want to check this Pokemon, and you can eventually force progress and become very overbearing. Kurt, throw a picture of J-Bear up on screen right now. The next set is simply Banded with very similar moves. Again, it's just very overbearing. How many times can I make the same joke in one video? Kurt, counter on screen. Banded is good for situations where your opponent doesn't have very many threats to outspeed you, or your opponent's Pokemon that are faster don't resist Sucker Punch. You can just simply Wicked Blow and do 45% to the Clefable coming in, and it's not really going to be an issue. Swords Dance and Trailblaze is another common set. Let's say your opponent got like, I don't know, a Primarina. We're just picking random Pokemon to bully. You can Swords Dance, you can Trailblaze. After some chip, I'm sure you OHKO that. And then you have dual stabs, and at that point, you're banded, you're Scarf, I mean, you're two choice bands actually. And you're very strong. The dual stab combination is going to be very hard to switch into. This set is going to be less common than the other two, but it still has some usability. And then the last set we're going to talk about is going to be taking advantage of URSHIFU's great physical bulk. It's just going to be a bulk up set with Drain Punch, of course, to give it some form of longevity. This set's going to be good into teams that are very physical. You can bulk up in their face and you can do a ton of damage. You can have Drain Punch, Wicked Blow, or Sucker Punch, and then some form of a coverage move, or you could even throw sub on there if you don't think your opponent can break the sub with whatever physical attackers they have. I get a lot of hate if I didn't at least mention Punching Glove when talking about URSHIFU. A lot of newer players aren't going to know what this is, but it's protective pads on punching moves with a 1.1 times boost. That means you can't get something like Static or Rocky Helmeted on things like Drain Punch or Wicked Blow. This is good for like the Swords Dance sets, or if you need just a little bit more power but you don't want to be choice locked. It's a good item, and feels like it was specifically made to make URSHIFU broken. Finally, teammates and Pokemon you should draft around URSHIFU. Unlike Dragapult that we talked about last week, URSHIFU is a fantastic individual Pokemon rather than a facilitator. Whereas Dragapult really shines when you really just plan out exactly what you're going to put around it. URSHIFU, you can kind of just bang your head against the wall, pick whatever you want, and it's still going to do very well. The one role that you're pretty much always going to want, though, is going to be some form of a fairy killer. Some of my personal favorites are going to be Iron Moth because it outspeeds and it has momentum, and it pairs very nicely with URSHIFU in that regard. Goldango, I think, is another fantastic one because it can't get status. You can come in on those fairy types and do tons of damage with your base 130 special attack. And then Galarian Slowking because it's very fat and it can be very annoying to break, especially for opposing fairies, and it can come in and chilly reception out into URSHIFU. These are far from the only pairings, but these are my personal 3 favorite realistic pairings with URSHIFU. There's also broken ones that I've seen. Like I had URSHIFU Spectrier once, and that on paper is like really broken. Another role that I do like, it's not necessary by any means, but is another Pokemon to pressure fairies. Sometimes URSHIFU is just like 12% away from breaking a fairy type, and you might want to get rocks up, but maybe they're boots. So getting another Pokemon that can pressure those fairies out can be very, very nice. A Pokemon that I really like for this role is going to be Hoopa Unbound because it can be special. And then you force your opponent's fairies to, should I go physical or should I go special? Should I check the URSHIFU? Should I check the Hoopa Unbound? And ultimately, they can't check both. Other than that, URSHIFU can kind of be placed on pretty much any team and be successful. URSHIFU is very overwhelming, and ultimately, it's one of the best Pokemon in Draft League. Wherever you think it stands is valid for you. I think it's at least top 3 Pokemon in Draft League currently. With all that being said, will you draft URSHIFU? Thank you guys so much for watching our second Why You Should Draft series. Shout out again to Kurt for editing this video. You can check out his links down in the description below. We're doing Brambleghast next week because my channel members, I don't know, it came out of its Pokeball in a draft game a couple times. I've had it, it's clicked Strength Sap probably 11 times and other moves twice. But for some reason, my channel members are obsessed with it because I don't like it. If you want to partake in voting for future Pokemon that we talk about, become a channel member today for as low as 99 cents a month. Go down there, click that join button. Realistically, it's at least $5 a month to help pick the Pokemon, but you can at least get some cool emotes for becoming a channel member for 99 cents a month. And while you're down there, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. With all that being said though, thank you guys so much for watching. And for now guys, this has been John Jr. signing off. I'm gonna need you to edit this very well so it's entertaining. URSHIFU also has some cool tools. Those words don't really sound real anymore. Feels like I'm looking down at the camera, but Kurt, go ahead and leak Jaybear's IP while we're at it as well. All of which allow for some very creative and unique sets that are not Choice Band or Choice Scarf. Why did I say it like that? We are gonna kill 3 Mantines with his Thunder Punch. Thank you.